On the record, I have the New York Giants winning the NFC East in 2016. Let's talk about it. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. 32 teams, 32 days, and today we're talking about the New York Football Giants. And as I said in the intro, I'm picking the New York Football Giants to win the NFC East in 2016. A little bit of a scary prediction because I think there is a certain level of uncertainty with this football team. Whenever you're going out in free agency with your big fat ass wallets and you're throwing around cash, there's gonna be some uncertainty there. I mean, we're talking about the big three free agent signings, right? Olivier Vernon, Damon Harrison, and Janoris Jenkins. One of them will suck, okay? Maybe even two of them, and that scares me. But with that said, I think it's time, right? It's 2016. It's time for the Giants to go back to the playoffs to win the NFC East once again. It's just about that time. So let's talk about why. We're going to get into their team, look at their roster, look at their strengths, their weaknesses, go through their schedule, give you a win-loss prediction, and then get the hell out of here. Let's start with their strengths, and my first strength is their defensive line. Now, again, we're going to have to make some assumptions here. Olivier Vernon, I didn't love the free agent signing at all, right? I mean, I thought it was a lateral move. I thought Robert Ayers is just as good as Olivier Vernon, registered more sacks than Olivier Vernon last season. And I know what you're going to tell me, but Olivier Vernon got pressures, and pressures are just as good as sacks. Look, it doesn't matter to me. Pressures, sacks way more than pressures, period. And I don't think there's much of a discussion, right? Sacks, okay, when I'm a quarterback, right? 1st and 10, okay, I'm dropping back, I'm trying to throw the football. I'm Aaron Rodgers, for example. Hey, no, I'm black, I'm Jameis Winston. I'm dropping back as 1st and 10, I get sacked, okay? Now it's 2nd and 20. Or I get pressured, but I throw the ball away and it's 2nd and 10. Which one hurts more? 2nd and 20 hurts more than 2nd and 10. One has a physical impact on the game. Pressures can, yes, create interceptions and, could create incompletions. But at the end of the day, sacks mean more than pressures. You got to get to the quarterback. And for me, Olivier Vernon doesn't quite do enough of that. I didn't love the signing, giving him as much money as they did. And they're going to regret this signing. But with that said, he's a good player, right? So he's a good player on the defensive line, and that's fine. Defensive tackles, let's talk about those. Okay, Damon Harrison, who you signed from the New York Jets. I think this guy is actually going to be good. The only thing is, on passing downs, get rid of him, right? He's not going to be able to make an impact. But in terms of run defense, oh yeah. Ezekiel Elliott coming up the middle. Damon Harrison saying, no, you ain't going nowhere. Love that. Jonathan Hankins next to him. I thought he was the best player on the Giants defensive line last season, right behind Robert Ayers. So I expect him to be good again. And then the other defensive end position, Jason Pierre-Paul, the one-handed man, played pretty well last year. He should play even better as he gets used to that one hand. I think he's going to be pretty good. And then you guys also have Owambe Odigizua, right? Owambe Odigizua, the 2015 second-round pick out of UCLA, was always a project. Apparently, he's looking better in training camp, so that's good. And then also for other depth, there's a good amount of depth here. Defensive tackles, Jay Bromley, Cullen Jenkins. You can sub them in whenever Damon Harrison is out. Get some pass rush for them. I believe Cullen Jenkins had about 3 sacks last season, so we know he's very capable of getting sacks from the interior. That's what you have to look out for there. This position right here, it's the strength of this football team to me, and I don't think it's very close at all. The next one to me would be the cornerbacks, right? We're talking about Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, lower tier number 1 cornerback to me, but he's a number 1 quarterback. If we're ranking the cornerbacks in the NFL, I think he ranks about 20, right? And that's pretty good. He's a number 1 cornerback, fine. Number 2, Janoris Jenkins. Now, for some reason, and I really don't know why, free agent corners also have a pretty high bust ability in the NFL. I just look at Brandon Carr and Brandon Flowers and Nnamdi Asamoah and Asante Samuel, and I don't know, it doesn't work out a lot of times, and it really doesn't make sense because your job as a cornerback really doesn't change. You're still just covering guys. I don't know why that's so difficult, but it does. Altron Werner, another guy that really didn't transition well at all. So I question if this is going to work out, but for right now, he was a good player last year. Let's say he's a good player. Cornerback Leon Hall, who you signed from the Cincinnati Bengals to be your slot corner. Love this addition. It's a great addition. I think he's been one of the top slot corners in the NFL for years. He's 31, still young enough. Assuming he's healthy, he'll be good. You drafted Eli Apple. He's a fourth cornerback. Right now, if Janoris Jenkins stinks, you put in Eli Apple. I'm a pretty big Eli Apple fan. I mean, not a huge fan, but I like him, right? I gave them a B for taking him. I like him. And so I'm interested to see what he can do. But he's definitely a really good fourth cornerback to have on your depth chart. So that's good. This position is a strength for me. No other strengths for me. But there's definitely some positions that could be. Let's start with the quarterback, and that'd be Eli Manning. The guy's been playing well under Ben McAdoo, not really hitting that 32, 33, 34, 35 touchdown mark. So I just couldn't put the quarterback as a strength for me. But, and also he relies a lot on Odell Beckham for my taste. But anyway, I think he's good, right? If we're ranking the 32 quarterbacks, he's about 13, 14, and that's fine. Also, wide receivers, right? Odell Beckham, he's fantastic. I'm a huge Odell Beckham fan. And really, it honestly pisses me off, people that hate Odell Beckham. It really, really, really does. And I'm not a Giants fan. Guys, Odell Beckham's great. Get over it. Right? People hate the fact that people in the media talk about Odell Beckham. Oh, they're, sucking his dick or whatever. Guys, because he's great. You're looking at the next great wide receiver in the NFL, the next Hall of Fame talent wide receiver in the NFL. We're talking about like rookie seasons, right? He literally had the second best rookie wide receiving season ever behind Randy Moss. He's great. He came out his second season, and guess what? He was great. Okay, whenever Josh Norman was battling him, guess what? He was fantastic. I mean, the guy's fantastic. He's great. Just sit back and enjoy it. I mean, he's not just a one-catch guy. Had 1,300 yards in 12 games his rookie season. This guy's just great. Sit back and enjoy the show. He's going to end up being a top 10, top 5 wide receiver of all time. Get over it. You're looking at the other wide receiver, okay? Sterling Shepard out of Oklahoma. I liked him as a prospect, right? A little bit of a reach for me, but that's fine. I think he's going to post 7, 8, maybe 900 yards and be a good number 2. The problem is no one else is here. You're talking about Jeremy Davis. We know nothing about, for the most part, had about 97 yards last year. Who cares? You're talking about Tavares King. Who cares? Victor Cruz will not stay healthy. He will not post more than 500 yards. If you're thinking he's going to do that, you're wrong. He won't do it. He hasn't looked good in training camp at all. The only reason he's staying on the roster is because he's a training camp name, because they have no other players. If they would have signed Anquan Bolden, if they would have signed Andre Johnson, I would have been totally on board for that, because I don't love the depth at the wide receiver position at all. If Odell Beckham gets injured, their playoff chances are over. You believe that. The good thing is he's a very durable man, and that's good for them. I think the running backs are actually pretty good. Not a strength, but actually pretty good. Rashad Jennings gets a lot of hate, and I don't know why. I think he's good, right? He doesn't get 1,000 yards only because they don't give him 250 carries. If they gave him 250 carries, he'd get 1,000 yards. Guy had 4.3, 4.4 yards per carry last season. That's good. Okay, there's no problem there. You also have Shane Vereen, who's a nice receiving back. We know all about him. Andre Williams has slimmed down a little bit. You also have Orleans Darkwa, and you drafted Paul Perkins. I think the running backs are pretty freaking good. Not quite a strength. Could actually end up being one, but definitely not a weakness. I think their running back position is pretty underrated. You hear a bunch of Cowboy fans saying, oh, the Giants running backs suck. No, they don't. They're fine. Believe you me. We move on. And Okay, the offensive line, I didn't put it as a weakness. It's close though. So we're talking about two really good players in Justin Pugh and Weston Richburg. Okay, that's great. Okay, one at left guard, one at center. That's fantastic. Everyone else is a question. John Jerry, we know what we're gonna get from him. He's a fine starter, but maybe not even fine, below average. But if you're okay with that, that's fine. Your tackles though are a question, right? And you've been trying to call and flirt and text and Tinder with some of these free agent tackles lately, like Eugene Monroe before he retired, and Ryan Clady and Will Beatty, but you haven't really signed any yet. I don't know why. Eric Flowers was a damn near disaster last season. I mean, he was horrible. We get that he was a rookie. Maybe he can improve, but guys, he was bad. And then Marshall Newhouse at your right tackle position. Don't love him either. Although Bobby Hart, your 7th round pick last season, he's expected to challenge for the spot as well. Don't love the tackles at all, but the interior is okay. In fact, I think it's even pretty good when you have 2 out of the 3 being really good. So I don't think the offensive line is a weakness, but it is a position of question for me at least. All right, let's get into the weaknesses. First of all, the linebackers, it's not a big weakness, but I think it's a weakness, right? Because I think none of these guys are dynamic. Okay, Devon Kennard, he's the most dynamic of the bunch, and that's not a good sign. The guy's okay, pretty good against the run. Pretty bad in coverage. Same goes for Jasper Brinkley. I mean, come on, that guy's been around for too long and he's never been good. I don't know why he stays in the league. He's not horrible, but he's just a guy. And then you guys are starting Jonathan Casillas at your will linebacker position. Just another guy. Nothing impressive, nothing dynamic, nothing young. The Steelers have, I think, overrated linebackers in Ryan Shazier and Lawrence Timmons and, those idiots, right? But they're idiots, right? They're young idiots. They're dynamic. They're athletic. You don't know what you're going to get from them on a game-to-game basis. They're unpredictable. These guys are predictable. You know how to beat them. Just turn on the film, right? I think they really should have invested in a young linebacker. Probably drafted, they probably could have even gotten into the Miles Jack sweepstakes if they really wanted to trade up and get him. But hey, it's fine. What's done is done. Next year, get you a dynamic linebacker because boy, you need one. I mean, it's so old right now. These guys, I'm so sick of it. When you guys move on to the safeties. It's a weakness for me right now, but it could definitely be a strength. So Landon Collins will be playing more strong safety, good, because he's really, really bad in coverage. He's always been this. In terms of run defense, he's really good. So you put him in the box and you leave him there, right? He's not leaving that box. In terms of Darian Thompson out of Boise State, I like him, right? He's a smart football player, not a great athlete, standing at about 6 foot, that's fine. Nothing really physically intimidating, but he wins off of his smart, off of his mental football IQ. We'll see how he is, but for right now, these two young guys, I have to put them as weakness. And finally, the tight ends, weakness for me, Larry Donnell. I'm so sick of him. I'm so sick about hearing about him, about talking about him. He had the pretty nice 2014 season in which he had about 500 yards, but he also had about 4 lost fumbles. That was pretty bad. And then last season, I thought it was pretty much a disaster. And then now they're talking about him being the number 3 tight end on the depth chart behind Will Tye and Matt LaCosse. That's the tight ends are horrible right now. Gerald Adams, your 6th round pick out of South Carolina, he's not proving himself in training camp. The tight ends are awful right now. The good thing is I don't think the tight end position is very valuable at all. If you don't have a top 10 tight end, who cares? That's just the NFL tight ends to me. So it's not a bad thing to have a bad tight end to me most of the time. So with that said, let's look at the schedule. And, the Giants are the weirdest team in the NFL, honestly. And right next to the Cowboys, I don't know what the NFC East is smoking. They can win games. They can upset teams. Like, for example, they're going to Green Bay. I wouldn't be surprised if they won that game. And then they're hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. I won't be surprised if they lost that game. They're so unpredictable. I don't even know what the point is of going game by game. I mean, we can do it, but I'm just telling you right now, none of these predictions may even end up being right because these guys are just so unpredictable on a game-to-game basis. So anyway, I actually have you guys starting 3-0. I have you guys winning in Dallas, beating New Orleans Saints, beating the Washington Redskins. But look out for all of these teams, really, because it's going to be difficult. Then I have you guys losing the next two at Minnesota, at Green Bay. Hosting Baltimore. I actually think you guys might lose this one. I don't know. It's a feeling that I have right now. Baltimore, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but I think they're going to be pretty good and they're going to give you some problems. And then you guys face the LA Rams in London. You guys should definitely win this game. I don't expect much from the Rams at all this season. You host Philly, you host Cincinnati, you host Chicago. I mean, I think you guys are only going to win one of these games, and that's hosting Philadelphia. I'm high on the Bears. I'm high on Cincinnati. Although I think in the Bears video, I did have you guys beating them, but who cares? I don't love it right now for some reason. In Week 12, you guys go to Cleveland. Take care of business. Be careful, though, because, man, you guys love to lose these games. You guys go to Pittsburgh. I don't see a chance in hell. You guys host Dallas, host Detroit. You guys should win both of these games, quite honest with you. I think you guys are actually going to sweep Dallas this year. And then at Philly, I think you guys are going to lose to Philly here. That's just a feeling that I have. I don't know how many wins I just said, but I'll tell you, I have them going 9-7, okay? Best case scenario, I could see 11-5. But it's going to require a lot of health, right? Because I think the depth here isn't great beyond the corners and the defensive line, which were the two strengths that I said. If Eli Manning gets injured, they're screwed. If Odell Beckham gets injured, they're screwed. If Weston Richburg gets injured, they're screwed. So that's a little bit concerning to me. There will be injuries. That's why I dipped them down to 9-7. Worst case scenario, 7-9, and it's possible. It's very possible, and we have to always take that into consideration when we're talking about the New York Giants. That they have expectations to do something and they just don't. And then Eli Manning may have his ceremonious high interception season. I think it's 9-7, and yes, that means you win the NFC East. I'm going conservative with the Giants. I think that's what you have to do. With all the uncertainty with these free agent pickups and acquisitions, you just can't buy that all of them are going to pan out. At least one of them will be a disaster, maybe even two. And my prediction right now will probably be Olivier Vernon will be the real disappointing one, but we shall see. So there you go. What are your thoughts on the upcoming New York Giants 2016 NFL season? Comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and most importantly to subscribe for more season previews. And oh, by the way, during the NFL season, I have plenty of content there as well. So they're playing my music, and you know what that means. Until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.